Hello, everybody. I am so grateful that you're here. Thanks to those of you who have subscribed and left great comments. I'm very excited about this project. If you haven't listened to the first video where I welcomed and launched this, please do. It will give you more of a background on what I'm up to here. But I'm very excited to see you all, and thank you for being here. As I mentioned in that video, the thing that got me excited about letter writing, at least at the level I'm doing now, is called INCOWRIMO. That's International Correspondence Writing Month. It takes place every year in February. You commit to writing a note, a letter, a card, something every day in February, and either mailing it or hand delivering it, or hiding it to where someone's going to find it, whatever you'd like, but every day in February. Okay? So, I first did this in 2023. It's been going on a long time. Since 2023, I have written just over 1,200 pages of letters, about 1,210 pages of letters. I am not asking you to commit to that level, but who knows, right? So in any case, this was started by a man named Eric Orozco. Eric was part of the original Fountain Pen Geeks podcast back in the day, 2010 maybe, and worked for Anderson Pens, and is the founder and producer of the Philly Pen Show. So you might know Eric from that. But he created this in the spirit of what he calls vintage social media. Right. So I like that idea that we're in an analog world doing letter writing with pen, with pencil and paper. And we'll talk more about those later on. It's great fun. And I want to tell you how you can get ready to do it, because to make a commitment to do this requires some preparation so it doesn't get overwhelming and you just don't bother. So let's kick off with that. Who are you writing to? It really helps to get organized, to do a list. I'm going to write to my grandmother on the first day of February. I'm going to write to John Smith on the second day. I'm going to write to Maria Sanchez on the third day. I've got that together. So because when you make a commitment this big, it's easy to sort of get overwhelmed and lose it. So if you get organized ahead of time, you've got that list. It's one less thing to stop you from actually getting it done. So you're going to want to make that list. 28 days this time, no leap year. So 28 days, 28 people. You can write the same people multiple times if you'd like, but have them in the order that you plan to write to them. So make that list. You can, if you'd like, join the INCOWRIMO, and INCOWRIMO is INCOWRIMO.org. If you go to that website, there's a 2025 address exchange. You can put your address there and other people can choose to write to you. You can peruse that list. You can choose to write other people as well. They talk a little bit about themselves, their hobbies, their interests, what they're hoping for, and you can choose to write them. You can do that and not put your address there, so your address is not public on the website, or you can put your address there, but it will be public on the website and it notes that. So, but you can also just write friends and family that you know. So once you've made a decision, who you're going to write to, and how are you going to be part of any kind of address exchange, then you want to make a decision about what you're going to write. Are you going to write letters? Are you going to write cards? Are you going to write notes? Are you going to do a mix of all of those things? I am a big proponent of actual letters, but I write a lot of cards. And in a minute, I'm going to talk about some of the tools we can use and some of the supplies we can bring in. But make a decision, because you'll need to have those supplies ready. So when you decide, you can actually write those letters and notes. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what do you need to be able to write 30 communications, 30 correspondences 28 correspondences in 28 days. Well, the first thing you're going to need is a pen, right? Now, I am a fountain pen geek, and so I have a lot of pens, but not everybody is a fountain pen geek, and so that's not required. You can use, I am a big fan of Retro 51. Now, by the way, nobody's sponsoring this. Nobody's getting any money. I'm just mentioning things I like. Okay. So I'm a big fan of Retro 51 rollerballs when I need to write with something that is not a fountain pen. Of course, Pilot G2s are also great pens. It really depends, but just make sure that it writes smoothly and that you've got, and that it actually writes. So there's that. Now, if you want to venture into fountain pens and you haven't done it before, you don't have to spend a fortune on fountain pens. I love Pilot Kakuno fountain pens. A Pilot Kakuno fountain pen will cost you $11 on Amazon. You can buy it in various stores. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. It doesn't cost a lot of money. So there's that. If you're getting used to fountain pens and you want a little assistance on how to hold them, you can use a Lamy. This is a Lamy All-Star. You can also use Lamy Safaris. They're great pens out there, right? So you don't have to spend a fortune. But if you do have your favorite pens, I am a huge cursive smooth italic person, and so I tend to use my favorite pens, which are things like my Leonardo Dodici Guilloche and my Caran d'Ache. These both have cursive smooth italic on them, and it makes that writing so much better. I'll talk about that more in a different video. So you need a writing instrument. You also need paper. Now, I am a huge fan of A5 paper. A5 size paper is basically roughly sort of 5 by 8-ish, I think that's right. And there are lots of different types of paper that you can use. You'll find with papers that a paper will either take your ink more and it will make your writing whiter. Things like the Aerofil paper will take a fine point and make it look a medium, but it also shows ink beautifully. Cosmo Air Light is another wonderful paper that I like. Also does that some. I've really been getting into lately Japanese bank papers, and those don't tend to absorb as much ink, and so your writing will be a little truer. When I didn't mention something when I mentioned pens, but I think it's important. If you're writing letters, you tend to write relatively small, and having a finer nib can be helpful. If you want to go all out with broad nibs or big medium nibs, just plan to have fewer words on the line, so you don't plug up the insides of your letters. So you'll need paper. You can also do notes. I am a huge fan of the Peter Popper Press. You can get these. There's about 14 cards and 15 envelopes in these for about $10. So it's a very nice way to do it, and they're self-sealing. They've got little stick-em self-sealers. They're great notes, and they're like a wide variety, all kinds of different patterns, and very pretty, very cute, very businessy. Just depends on what you like. But they only cost about $10 for 14 cards and the envelopes. So it's nice. So you're going to need paper. You're going to need a writing instrument or more. I will use so many different colors of ink in February. It's not even funny, but that is not required. You're also going to make sure that you need to have envelopes and stamps. Now, stamps are their own rabbit hole. I have a lot of different stamps here. But, and a stamp it's really nice to sometimes match your stamp to the colors of your ink. We'll talk more about that in a different interview. But bottom line, you need stamps. Now, if you can't get stamps handy, sometimes you can get them at the supermarket. If you don't have a post office handy, you can go online, go to USPS.com, and they will help you get, and you can order stamps. So that's something to consider. Now, there's a whole world of things that you can do to spice up your letters, to make them prettier, to make them excited. Washi tape is a huge thing. We'll talk more about that in other videos. Sealing wax, stickers. You can put stickers on the envelopes, stickers on the paper. You can use rubber stamps. There's so many great ways to spruce them up. I'm a big fan of all of those things, and we'll cover those in future videos. You can also just have a straight envelope, a straight piece of paper, and not worry about it. So, somebody's going to be delighted to get it from you no matter what. And as I said, you don't have to mail these if you don't want to. You can hand deliver them. You can give them to your significant other. You can give them to your friends. You can give them to family. You don't have to mail things, but it is so much fun to get something in the mail. So, do think about that. And if you're writing to somebody who's not used to getting things in the mail, because a lot of times everybody's just doing like online bills and things these days, do text them, do contact them in some other way they're used to, and let them know that you're sending them something, so they will check their mailbox. Also very important, and this is, I say this because I've done some political organizing in my life. If you're trying to get people to vote, you tell them, okay, so you're going to make a plan. When are you going to go? Are you going to go in the morning? Are you going to go in the afternoon? Are you going to go at night after work? Very similar with a commitment like this. You need to decide, am I going to write these in the morning before everybody's up? Am I going to write them in a break at lunch? Am I going to write these in the evening? Am I going to write them when the kids have gone to bed? When are you going to do this writing? Make a plan. Because if you are going to actually commit to doing this, it will be sometimes inconvenient. And so you'll need to make a plan about how you're going to do that. So make that plan ahead of time. And then, just like anything else you commit to help you get it actually done, tell people that you're going to be writing to them. Tell people to expect things from you, that if they want to, they can write you back, and it will be really fun. So make that commitment. But INCOWRIMO is coming just in a few days. February 1st will be this Saturday, because I'm speaking now today on the 28th of January, which is Tuesday night. And so this Saturday is when this begins. So get ready, get prepared. If you have questions about things, please leave them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. But let's do this. Let's jump in full force and have a good time with it. It is something that has literally changed my life. I watch a whole lot less television now, and I write a lot more letters, and I do believe that I am more fulfilled and have a really great time with it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Look forward to talking to you more. Please do like and subscribe, and please do leave comments, and I will be happy to answer them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.